Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson broadcasting live from warm, sunny Colorado. Always warm, always sunny. Sometimes Colorado, increasingly more often Wyoming. So, I want to make a video about something that Elon Musk has been talking about. And, you guys on the left, you always think that I do nothing but praise him. But every now and then, he just says some stupid stuff and stuff that impacts all of us, actually. Twitter is by far, or now X, my largest platform. I have about a million people who listen to me on X. Not sure how many are bots, although he told me that he got rid of the bots. Told us all, right? There we go. Wow. Little bots. So Musk wants to get rid of community notes or change them. And the reason being is that he seems to not like what's being said in community notes. So, community notes is something that Zuckerberg talked about and others talked about. And it's this idea of swarm curation. So, basically, you have a large group of people come together, and those people have different viewpoints and incentives. And the hypothesis is if they're all looking at the same claim, C, that the aggregate, so the sum of all of those people of the, we'll call it a truth function of claim, is going to converge to something that's accurate in general. Now, many academic papers have been written on swarm curation and whether it's a good idea or bad idea, but it really is one of those garbage in, garbage out situations. Jajo. Why? Because if you're filled with lots of bots, or if the swarm that's curating has conflicts, you will not converge to an accurate account or an objective account. So it's a combination of incentives. What incentives do they have? It's a combination of quality. So who is in the room and what are their domains and skills? A combination of diversity. Are there many ideas? And Alex Pentland writes about this in something called Social Physics. Very nice book. Okay. And also, are they human or bots? So Sybil resistance is the thing we tend to think about here. Many other things. Okay. Swarm curation. So he's removing community notes because he doesn't like the fact checking that's being done there because it's inconvenient to political views that he holds. What is extraordinary to me is that fundamental building blocks are still not fully integrated into X. For example, on the civil resistance, years ago, I made a video saying you need to do DIDs, decentralized identifiers, and use it as your basis of identity inside the system. DIDs plus some form of KYC, usually done with a credit card. That's how he's been doing it, but there's many different ways to do that. Guarantee that you've killed the bots. Then you have Grok, and Grok is extremely advanced. Now, Grok 3 is a technological marvel. It's a work of art. In 1 year's time, they went from nothing of substance to having one of the largest AI data centers in the world and a frontier model that's comparable to the top models from Claude in OpenAI. It's a huge win. But you need to tune Grok to take all sources known and have a critical thinking module. So what you do is you have a long list of queries and thinking structures that give you the ability to analyze something deeply. Grok has this ability, and it's very easy to create templates of the queries and thinking structures. So this is the who, what, where, when, how. We all learned when we were little kids. And that's 101 stuff. But then you go a little deeper and you think about the argumentation of it. So the structure, is it an inductive or deductive argument? Are there known fallacies? And so you can put all those fallacies here. What are the queries and thinking structures? And you'd ask a fundamental question: what would have to be true for this to be true? Okay, so this is a thing you're looking at, the tweet. And so what else would have to be true for this to be true? So this antecedent to the consequent, the if then type of situation. So what's the A? Why is that relevant? Because if somebody has a lurid, insane conspiracy theory, the probability of that being true is quite low. Why? Because a lot of strange things would have to be true for that to be true that are unlikely events. And AI can do this instantaneously. And then you have your swarm intelligence, and the swarm intelligence augments the AI. So basically, you concatenate them together. So you have the Grok view concatenated with the swarm intelligence. And the aggregate of these two is the community note. Okay. So this is an imperfect system, but it's a self improving system. Grok will get more advanced over time. The data sets will get more refined. The thinking models are partnership driven. There is absolutely no reason for Facebook not to partner with X and take Llama 4 and take Grok 3 and put these thinking structures together and agree on some baselines about how they're going to do that. And then on the community note side, you need an economic component. And so traditionally, what we do is we use prediction markets. And remember when Kamala Harris was running against Trump, and the prediction markets basically said, poly markets said Trump was going to win, and the press said that Trump was going to lose. Poly market was right because money is on the line. So you'll have to ask a question: what is the economic value of objective reality for this viewpoint? That's what the prediction market is basically trying to figure out. So the prediction market helps you create economic agency. So I'll give you something that just came out yesterday. There was a big scandal with Libra, and the centerpiece of that is a gentleman named Hayden Davis. I saw reports yesterday that he killed himself, but they were unconfirmed and they were on X. So is it true? Is it not? Could be, could not be. Don't know. It's breaking news. So it would be nice if we had a process where we could create a bounty for knowing bounty for knowing if this is true or not. Any event. So it's pretty grim and dark, this one, but something that is relevant. And markets can form for the truthiness. And if you create economic rewards, people will participate, including people that are directly connected to the fact, and it enhances the intelligence of the swarm. So you have an economic angle, you have an AI angle, and you have a crowdsource angle. These three things together can form an extremely accurate view of reality. The more controversial the thing, the stronger the economic incentives are to figure it out. The more data will be available for an AI to look at, the stronger the logical structures get, and the more people who will participate in the swarm, And if it's a diverse forum, it means you'll get a balanced, objective view of reality. There is no fact checker in the world that will produce a better outcome than this. There's absolutely none. You can also put in veracity bonds for a claim. So that's another component and it creates more economic weight. So, in addition to the prediction market, in addition to the prediction market, you can say if it's a lie, didn't happen, then you lose a bond. So when people start making claims, you start asking beyond reputation, what's at stake? What do we gain? What do we lose? I would take something very seriously if a person put a lot of money behind it. For example, there's a person in China who burnt $1.3 million dollars of ether to say that the Chinese government is using brain computer interfaces to control people. You can search this story. Literally destroyed the ether just to publish the message. He's so serious that he's willing to lose 1.3 million to get our attention about something is whistleblowing. Doesn't mean it's true. Critical thinking has to come in. What would have to be true for this to be true? A lot of facts would have to be true, and we'd have to do that analysis, but it creates some agency behind that. What did you pay to tell me? What are you willing to lose to tell me? Can we create a marketplace to figure out the truth? Can we create a thinking machine programmed in a way to analyze things at a depth that humans are incapable of? Can we get a collective intelligence, a swarm intelligence of all the people? So when you combine these four things together, you create a perfect truth engine. Elon does a lot of stuff that I like. And he does a lot of stuff I really don't like. And you know what? He is not a god. He's absolutely guilty of Dunning-Kruger, and you see it come up from time to time. So he was in the White House the other day, and he was complaining about people who were 150 years old on Social Security. So, oh yeah, so all the normal people, oh, that's crazy. 150 years old on Social Security. That's obviously corruption. Well, when you hire people under the age of 20 to be on your Doge team, willing to wager they probably don't know anything about mainframes, nor does Elon because he was born after that time, nor do they know anything about COBOL. If you have incomplete information and a lot of these COBOL systems that IBM created, the default date that's entered in is 1875. How about that? So talk out of your ass without really thinking deeply about things. Sometimes you make a fool of yourself. Um, we have a lot of people in our organization who are older who were pioneers in programming language design, which meant that we accumulated a lot of expertise in the old way of doing things, whether it been Ada, COBOL, ALGOL, or Lisp, or these other languages. So there's some familiarity there. Anyway, um, that's a claim. And you have swarm intelligence, old COBOL programmer, the Grok view, look all the thinking tools and ask what would have to be true for this to be true, and it would reveal a lot of very uncomfortable things. Prediction market, how confident are you and how much money are you willing to put on? And that's a claim that Elon made, so he put his reputation there, but is he willing to burn $1 million if he's wrong? What about $10 million if he's wrong? $100 million if he's wrong? How much money before you really start taking it seriously? This is how you get to a true society. No one thing solves the problem. No one thing can get you where you need to go. It's a combination of things, a multimodal approach, and then you can get to a truth engine for a system. And that's how you fix community nodes. I do not know if Elon is fully committed to free speech. I know that he has a worldview and he's committed to a free platform for his expression. And I do believe it's valuable because his expression is one that tens of millions of Americans also believe in, and they were deplatformed systematically. And no one seemed to have any issue at all on the left with that because they disagreed with his speech. But it's not the same as free speech. That is a for all thing, everybody. And you have to be willing to have some rules behind it. And really, it comes down to this type of weighting. And then once you've done this weighting, what you can do is create a system where the relevance or visibility is weighted by the truthiness of the situation. And the more relevant, the more engagement, and the more veracity we believe, the more visible it is. And the less visible. This is not censorship. People say, well, I'm over here and nobody gets to see my post. You've censored me. This is what we call quality curation. High quality, good, interesting, engaging, well thought out, balanced information is more visible. You at 3 o'clock in the morning, high and drunk, talking about how leprechauns molested you when you were 12, perhaps is less visible. Maybe that's the world we want to live in. Challenge is that the leprechaun molestation, the algorithms that we have today flip the script because that is a lot more clickable than us talking about nuanced geopolitics that have no clear answer. You want to know about the leprechaun. So this is a click orientation. The other is a truth orientation. Productive, mature societies live in a truth orientation and an objective reality, a pursuit of that. Broken societies live in a click orientation. And in a nutshell, that's everything that's wrong with social media. I'm a very busy man, but one of these days I'm gonna fix this because I'm getting tired of it, and I'm getting tired of people looking for saviors to come on in and fix everything. Elon Musk is not a savior. He's a brilliant entrepreneur who does many incredible things, whether it be Neuralink restoring function for the crippled or soon to be the blind, to getting us to Mars, to inventing amazing AI technology, both in computer vision as well as now the large language model space. In no way does that excuse poor behavior, Dunning Kruger, offensive statements, or attitude. You look at people in a nuanced and balanced way. And there are some days I wake up and say, he's a great man. And there are other days I wake up and say, boy, I wish he didn't do or say that. And you know what? I'm willing to wager some of the people listening to this video have the same opinion about me. And that's the first step in gaining wisdom is to admit and acknowledge the imperfection in oneself. Community notes are an essential building block if they're built the right way towards building an algorithm that is truth oriented and forcing conversations in a way where the economics are for objectivity and discovery and insight as opposed to the base natures of mankind. And was we've seen with long form podcasts like Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman, they are rewarded because I think there's a hunger in society for real conversation. Some people, again, on the left a lot, but there's also people on the right who attack these podcasts as alt-right propaganda or evil or bad. But at the end of the day, all they're really doing is having a conversation, talking it out. If we had a truth engine, you'd be able to put it into that conversation. And for real people, the quality would radically go up. For propagandists, the quality would go down because they'd realize that they've been discovered. We have to get to a point where we build that, and I just gave you a blueprint for it. It's not that hard, and we don't need Grok for it. Llama can do it, and many other technologies can do it. Allen Institute is building a completely open AI system. They will be powerful enough in 3 to 5 years to run locally with all of those thinking tools and to have enough ability to search the web to be able to sort it all out. The mainstream media is also terribly corrupt. We all acknowledge that. But that doesn't mean every single journalist is evil and every single journalist wants to write propaganda and is bad. And absolutely, they say stupid things. Yesterday, see all these journalists complaining about Elon Musk's executive protection detail being deputized as U.S. Marshals. Any semblance of critical thinking would show how stupid that criticism is. You're taking former special forces operators and police officers who are some of the best in the world and giving them credentials to protect a man who has daily assassination threats, also in possession of some of our nation's most sensitive secrets, who is constantly going to federal buildings. And with private security, it is an enormous inconvenience for them to disarm. Is there a problem with the people getting the credentials? We trust them to be Navy SEALs and Green Berets and Rangers and JTAC or SWAT police officers. So obviously not. Is there a problem that Musk needs to be protected? Obviously not. And he's paying for this out of his own pocket. So you would rather, like Dr. Fauci, have the US taxpayers pay $7.5 million dollars a year for people to protect Musk as opposed to him paying for it himself. Why are we criticizing Trump deputizing these people as US Marshals and saying it's a coup? I literally saw a tweet yesterday. It's a talking point. It's propaganda. It's vacuous. It has no real critical thinking value. It's a complaint for the sake of a complaint. It's a talking point to push a political agenda. And we see it all the time on the right, on the left, and everywhere in between. And I don't know about you, but I'm just tired of it. I'm fatigued. I'm drained. There's been so much of it for so long. People don't even know why they're angry anymore. They don't know what they should feel on any one thing. It's so weird and so out there. You wait for some leader to show up and tell you what to do because you're just drained and you just don't want to put the time in it. It's not a society that's going to get ahead, especially one that has tools as powerful as the ones we have. The emergence of quantum computing, synthetic biology, AI, it's going to change everything, guys. Nanomaterials. It's crazy. Never has there been a time where the human race has had more capability and less wisdom. So we have to return to wisdom. And the first step in that is an addiction to the truth and an embracing of the processes of the truth and the humility to admit that sometimes we don't know all of it. And that's why the process will get us there. That's why I studied mathematics when I was younger. One of the things every mathematician is addicted to is not only the truth, but the rigor to prove the truth beyond a reason of a doubt for everyone to agree. That's a very high bar. It's a very high standard. And we can't get there deterministically, explicitly, but we can get there probabilistically as a society with an eye where every year we get better to it. So please don't get rid of community notes. Just fix them. And if you don't know how to fix them, have the humility to admit it and invite people in who do. It's a very necessary thing. And if you keep doing it, at some point, I'm going to leave X because there's no point in being in a platform. I've noticed over the last 2 years, the quality of discourse has gone down. I now have in every comment dozens of bots replying. In every comment, radical polarization, either radical love or radical hate, regardless of what it is, and absolutely nothing meaningful to engage with. And then I see all the time news come through X, and the news that comes through X, I don't really know, and it's hard to verify. We should all know if Hayden is dead or not. should be pretty straightforward. And there have been great wins, like the Trump assassination attempt, where we actually got to see the real story, not what the media tried to cram down our throat. I mean, literally, the first headlines from CNN is Trump collapsed at rally. Everybody knew he'd been shot. They heard the gunshots. The crowd was screaming it. He's bleeding from the ear. You could clearly see it. And that's the headline they ran with. And the president wouldn't even commit to talking about that as an assassination attempt when his own Secret Service told him before he made that speech. Where's the truth to power there? It's propaganda. But just because they're doing that, should X also do that and descend into this? Should whatever the White House's talking points are on the Ukraine conflict, for example, be the only thing that's allowed to be discussed in X? How are we any better than the platforms that we thought to replace? And no, Blue Sky is not the answer because their moderation is anything that's not left wing is censored and removed. It's about visibility. And you need a metric based on objective reality for what is visible and what's not visible. You don't make it totally invisible. People want to find it, they can find it. But at the end of the day, these engines are curation machines, bringing you the collective reality of what's going on and helping you navigate that and connect to these ideas. The builders of the platforms, they have a responsibility to build them in a way where the collective intelligence of everybody is increasing. The collective awareness of everybody is increasing. The collective empathy of everybody is increasing. You don't want to build them in a way where it's always declining. Doesn't make any sense to me. But that's why I'm a crypto guy. And I call it how I see it. And I can criticize people one day and I can praise people the next day. That's why I said Elon was brilliant with Grok. It's incredible. And now I'm making this video saying it's stupid about community notes. I'm a free thinking, independent, objective person. And if you think for once that I'm going to lose any access or lose commercial opportunities for speaking, then that's an indication of how sick society is. People are so petty that the minute that you don't support them 100% of the time, you can no longer talk to them, interface with them, and do business. We should never have any of those people as leaders in our society if that's the case, because we can't move forward. We can't move ahead then. People have to have the freedom to disagree with each other, to hold each other accountable. And when they see stupid things, point out that they're stupid things. Every single person that's criticized me in Cardano, believe me, there's been a ton of it. They have not lost any political power. In many cases, they've gained it as a result of their criticism. Sometimes it's so harsh and absurd and bizarre, but they're still around because there's nothing in Cardano that says you only get to use it if you like Charles and agree with Charles. In fact, the entire governance system was built the opposite way. So practice what I preach. And I fully appreciate that the propaganda and trauma and all the things that people have been going through the last 10 years has really damaged people. And everybody's angry. I'm angry. I'm angry about COVID. I'm so angry. I have a blinding rage there, and I lose objectivity at times because of how angry I am over what's been done, and angry I am over the lack of empathy and acknowledgement over what's been done, or understanding of why I'm angry. It's just one side or the other, and nobody wants to take the time to understand or engage. I'm deeply, deeply angry about what the Biden administration did to the cryptocurrency industry. Imagine my lived experience that people that I knew and grew up with were thrown in prison, were sued, had their businesses destroyed, their bank accounts turned off, and then us to be told it's our fault. Shut the hell up and get in the corner. Come in and register. It was one of the most egregious abuses of American law and institutions in my lifetime. Far worse than Watergate, far worse than any scandal that any president's done. And it was Tuesday in the Biden administration that was so addicted to lying to you, they couldn't even admit the mental capacity of the president. And they formed a detente with the mainstream media to hide it, when we all knew as an open secret that he had dementia. Where is he now? Where's Biden now? Notice Jimmy Carter used to go around and build houses after he left the presidency. Even Reagan, with his Alzheimer's, was doing stuff until about the mid 90s. Where's Biden now? Have you seen him? And we just lived this bullshit nightmare for 4 years. And your solution was to pick a king without any election or oversight, stage a coup, and put in another person with no democracy. And then say we have to do this to save democracy. It's not a healthy society. It's a sick society addicted to lies. And how you get out of it is you build processes and systems addicted to the truth. And that's what we're doing in the cryptocurrency space. That's why it's my life's work every step of the way. What goes in the blockchain is immutable, time stamped, and irreversible, regardless of the social consequences of that knowledge. Cognito hazards all the way down. And by adding AI and by adding the right curation and economic incentives, we will make money for telling the truth. And in a capitalist society, just like Wall Street, means you'll have Truth Street. And we will get there. Then the next step is wisdom, which is knowing what to do with the truth and what changes to make. And that requires humility. So until next time, my friends, thank you for listening. Hopefully, this reaches the right people over in X. Please don't take away community notes, just fix them.